All right, I think I'm live. Yes, I am. Okay, hello everybody. I know I just went live a few seconds ago and that was wrong. I went ahead and canceled that. Just waiting for some people to join us before we get started here. All right, I'm going to do a little poem like I like to do just in the beginning while I'm waiting for everybody to come in the room here. Good morning, everybody, or afternoon, evening, wherever you are. This poem is called Meditate and Levitate. Meditate and levitate. Waves of frequencies resonate higher. I'm connected with the provider, source of cosmic energy. We're going to be one single entity, expansion remedied, oneness must breathe, exhale and let free, consciousness to be, experiences of you and me. Souls of interdimensional beings to feel, hear, and see this third dimensional planetary existence. All time can be found in one instance. In this realm of linearity, atoms in anarchy, quantum polarity, the epitome of creation. Facing our egos, acquiring patience, waiting to let go of our nations, and join the federation of souls that will take us to the fifth world. Hello, good day, everybody. This is Neil with Portal to Ascension. I just wanted to come on just really quickly and discuss some UFO disclosure updates. What's going on, Michael Winter? Nice to see you, brother. So there's been a lot going on, and I'm going to share my screen here. I only really have 15 minutes with you guys, but this has kind of been pending on the back of my mind for a few days now, just to really to share this with you and share my perspective on what's going on. Some of you may know, or a lot of you may know, that back in December, there was a clause added to the COVID relief bill in which all the agencies, the military, the Department of Defense, the Pentagon, they basically have 180 days to share what they know about UFOs, disclose everything that they have. We can all be hopeful that they're going to not retract anything or throw anything out, and that actually could be the case that's happening now. But at the same time, they didn't wait for 180 days. The drops have actually been happening. I feel a lot of people are waiting for June 25th, which is the date that the 180 days is over, and there's going to be hopefully a big drop then. But there's been a lot of things going on since that date, and it's very interesting that they snuck it in with the COVID relief bill, because what's happened with this world situation is that many different policies, systems, institutes have been initiated that would be the same ones that would be initiated for open contact experience. Like if we knew that UFOs existed, or if we knew that that ETs are here, or if it's time to really disclose the fact that ETs are here and who they are and that we're communicating with them and all that. So what the agenda is, we can only speculate. I have my own opinions on it. I'm not going into agenda today. I'm not going into telling you what I believe they're doing. This is just completely factual information that's coming out right now from the mainstream about all of this. So again, there was 180 days to disclosure. Just about a month ago, you guys might remember that NASA actually just released images of their rover on the moon, new images of their rover. And let me see if I can pull it up here. And I'll just show you a few images for fun. It's interesting to note, guys, that for a red planet, that all the images that we were seeing before were completely red. These images don't seem so red as past images, right? You'd almost not want to call it a red planet from all the different colors. There have been some people that have said that the rover found some ETs, some apparitions moving by, a UFO that was flying in the sky. I'm going to do a whole video on the NASA images in about 2 weeks, where I'm going to dissect a few of these images and go through those anomaly images and see if there's any truth there. But just to show you, that this is coming out. But the interesting part of this really is that the rover, its main mission is to see if it can discover life. That's its main mission right now on Mars, to discover evidence of currently existing life or previously existing life. They want to, in the future, land into a huge crater over there in Mars and be able to look to see if there's fossils deep underneath in the crater. So at this point, it's pretty much a given, and most people in mainstream European Space Agency, Indian Space Agency, NASA, and and then of course the anomaly hunters and the alternative astronomers, they already believe that that Mars once had life. And if you see some of NASA's models of Mars millions of years ago, you can even see this whole entire planet, when they're reversing it with waters, lakes, what they think it looked like. So it's not about whether there was life at this point. To NASA, it's about when there was life and can we find evidence of this. So that is what they're doing there on Mars right now. And some of us, watching this right now might say there's already evidence of life, or there is life on Mars, and there are pyramids and ancient structures on Mars, and there is evidence to prove that. And if that is the case, then either they're hiding it or they haven't found it, right? So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the years to come. And India is, sending a mission to Mars. China has a planned mission to Mars. So as we go out into the space, do these agencies already know what is going on? Do they know what is going on with, these ETs and these beings on other planets and ancient civilizations? Or are they going to be discovering it as time progresses? I feel it might be the first one, that they may already know, and that this is kind of agenda oriented to take us down a slow movement into drip disclosure, where they're like, oh, now we found this, now we find water, now we find fossil life. Some of you may not remember, but around 8-9 years ago, NASA discovered water on Mars. That was like one of the first discoveries, that there is now water on Mars. Life can be over there. So let's just keep an eye on that one. And I'm just gonna do bullet points here, because we're actually starting our first ever 2-day cannabis conference in about 30 minutes from now. So if you guys are interested actually to check out the cannabis conference, let me pull up the graphic right here before I get into this. Please do go to portaltoascension.org and go to upcoming events, and it's the first event right there. And here is the flyer for you. Two-day event, around 16 to 18 speakers. It's going to be really epic, talking about the spirituality of cannabis, the healing properties, hemp industry, many things, indigenous wisdom, how it was used in the ancient past, what happened during Prohibition. So check it out on portaltoascension.org. Okay, now back to this. Then soon after the 180 days, we had a drop from the NSA and the CIA, which I shared in a past video. There's multiple videos of me online now talking about it. But on the NSA's website, they have CIA documents. And the CIA documents have all types of amazing smoking gun articles, such as flying UFO discovered hovering over Antarctica, right? CIA's own documents. So that was one of the first drops. And then we have, this right here, an AA pilot back in February 25th, only a few weeks ago, reports seeing cylindrical object moving really fast. A lot of pilots see UFOs many times. However, they do not report it for fear of being ridiculed, right? That they're conspiracy theorists, or people laugh at them, or they might lose their job. But ever since about 6-7 years ago, there's been, plus or minus really, there's been this move from ridiculing it and making a conspiracy theory to giving it the time of day. Whereas you used to see news anchors saying things like, with like, do in the background, or like they would have a little green man in the corner when they would report on UFOs in order to ridicule it and make it fun, like a fun story, like, oh my God, there's UFOs, but never really serious. Now that's completely shifted. There's a serious approach on it. And don't think it's because they're doing good journalism. It's just because they've had the go-ahead by their overlords. That's really what it is. So the AA pilot reports seeing cylindrical object moving really fast over New Mexico. Again, this happened a few days ago. I'll read just a few lines here. The encounter with identified flying object happened over New Mexico as AA Flight 2292 was headed to Phoenix from Cincinnati. The pilot called air traffic control shortly after noon local time on February 22nd to report seeing the object, according to Federal Aviation Administration. Do you have any targets up here? We just had something go right on top of us, the pilot is heard saying in a radio transmission recorded and published by the blog site Deep Black Horizon. I hate to say this, look like a long cylindrical object that almost looked like a cruise missile type of thing moving really fast. It went right over the top of us. you've probably heard of the regular UFOs, the round ones, the ones that we see in movies. But one sighting that seems to be a common sighting is cylindrical, almost cigar-shaped UFOs. So this individual that doesn't seem like he's a UFO disclosure activist is flying this plane, and he sees something similar to that has been reported, many times in the past. And since I am in a Zoom room that we're doing the cannabis conference for in about 25 minutes, just to let everybody know that's joining us right now in the Zoom room, that this is just a pre-show right here. I'm going live, just talking about some updated news. We're going to get started with the cannabis conference in just a little bit. And all right, so moving on here. So that's just another one that came out a few weeks ago. And now here's another one here, authored to discuss UFO research biography on March 23rd. Let's take a look at that. So this author, Ralph Blumenthal, will discuss his new book, The Believer, Alien Encounters, Hard Science, and the Passion of John Mack in a live online event, 5 p.m., Tuesday, March 23rd, sponsored by Lewis Library and Brooks See About Books. So what's also happening is a lot of academics that also would not have touched this subject at all are now coming out to speak about it. A good example of that is the ex-chief of the space program in Israel that came out just recently too, within the last 2 months, and said that there's a galactic federation that is here on Earth that exists but is not interacting with us yet because we're not at the level basically of consciousness in order to really have open communication with them. And now here is what I'm getting to, which is something that just happened yesterday. So this is the update, everybody. Now we're having another intelligence officer coming. They're just dropping this stuff here. It's basically implementing little thoughts into your head so that when it occurs and when disclosure happens, or if ETs show themselves somehow, they're not held responsible for holding this information from us. So former intelligence chief, quite a few more UFOs detected and publicly known. And you can just search, this on the internet if you really want to read this article. But he said something like this: when we talk about sightings, the other thing I will tell you is it's not just a pilot or a satellite or some intelligence connection. Usually we have multiple sensors that are picking up these things, and some of these are unexplained phenomena, and there's actually quite a few more than have been made public. So he's saying there's a lot more, because when the 180 days is over, if it goes according to plan, there's going to be so much out there that it's going to be mind-blowing. Thousands, tens of thousands of cases. So they're already planting it into our consciousness that there is much more. Also, there's this whole thing of we were never ready. The government thought we weren't ready for the truth, right? So now what they've done is they separated themselves from the defense agencies. So we have the government, we have the defense department. The government is now asking the Defense Department to disclose the fact that they've been lying about UFOs/UAPs, right? UAP, unidentified aerial phenomena, which is the branding by the Pentagon, basically by the Defense Department. So now what they can do is they can say like, hey, we weren't responsible for this at all. We've been trying to get you to disclose this. The people that were directing this back in the day that made it secret are no longer here, but we want you to disclose this. So what happens is they get off scot-free. No one gets angry with them for not telling us the truth because it wasn't their fault. It was the Defense Department's fault at that time, and there's no one to hold accountable. So that's kind of what is going on right now. There's definitely much more to discuss, but I'm going to get out of here in this moment. But I'll leave you with this. Did you know that there is a chemical or a byproduct called phosphine that is on Venus that only gets produced when organic matter is decaying? And here, I'll read this. Phosphine on Venus is more likely, well, actually, this one right here is better to read. Phosphine, a colorless, flammable, very toxic gas compound, the most likely source is the reduction of phosphate in decaying organic matter. So just recently, within the last year, they discovered phosphine in Venus. And we already know that if you're a certain amount of miles above the surface, like sea level, I guess, there is perfect temperature around 75 degrees in order for a breakaway human civilization to exist. So you know how we've been looking at Mars for a human civilization, but they've also been looking at settling Venus and having floating cities that are up at this area where the temperature is like 75 degrees. So there is definitely conditions on Venus where they think that they can, have life. But the fact that there is phosphine in occurrence that only comes with organic matter decaying either means something currently exists in Venus, or that there was something there in the ancient past and the matter is decaying now. And then when NASA went and looked into their archives, when they went and looked into their books of how long this how long they knew that phosphine was there, they found out that in the 1970s, they discovered phosphine in Venus's atmosphere, but it was put into their archives. They never looked too much into it. Not until 40 years later, when they discovered it again, they're like, wait a second, phosphine only gets created through organic matter decaying. Did they actually give any credit to it or even look into it? So that's also a new discovery. Well, actually since the 70s, but it's only coming out now that people are being aware of the fact that maybe there was also life on Venus. And if you look at regular models that are being given to us from space agencies, they've even mapped out Venus to also have had life in the past. So very interesting times, a lot going on right now. I just wanted to share that with you all. Again, we're about to start the Cannabis Conference very shortly here. The first ever 2-day online cannabis conference brought to you by Portal to Ascension. And this has been a 2 to 3 year event in the making, really been wanting to get to a point where I can do this and spread some information on cannabis, hemp, and reduce the stigma around this beautiful, incredible plant that is becoming decriminalized worldwide, right? And the healing properties of it, so much, it's a cure-all and it can offer so much. So if you're interested, go to portaltoascension.org and you can sign up under upcoming events. And then also we are launching, everybody, drum roll please, our new website in about 2 weeks, which is going to be the most epic thing that I've ever put together. And right now you're seeing the back end of the website without anybody else actually having seen this yet, except for myself and my wife. And it's not completely finished, but this is basically how it's going to look. We're going to have a watch now page. It's going to be epic. Everything's pretty much there already, just in its final stages. There's going to be 60 events for the rest of the year planned, from epic 5-day conferences to solo workshops. So do go ahead and check it out when we launch in about a week and a half. But you can go to our website right now, sign up. We have thousands of hours of free presentations, including the presentation we're doing today is going to be up there once we're done. Go to the website, sign up the email address and name, and then when we're ready to launch the site, you'll get an email with that and you can go ahead and explore it. And just to show you, this is the back end of the website. All the videos I'm going to show here, thousands of videos. So I'm excited. It took me a year and a half to create this site. So it's going to be fun to release it to all of you. All right, everybody on YouTube and Facebook land, love you all so much. If you want to join us, come to the Cannabis Conference. Also, we're going to be live in about 20 minutes on YouTube, and we're going to be live in 20 minutes on Facebook with the Cannabis Conference because it's a free event. So you don't have to come into the Zoom room if you do not want to. You can just stay on that platform and check us out a little bit. Okay, love you all. See you guys later.